Dover, Delaware. It's the home of the track they call the Monster Mile. 1 mile of high banks and fast speeds. And today, site of the Busch Grand National North Series race. Just 2 races remain in the Busch Grand National North Series today at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. It's the MBNA America 150. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dover. I'm Mike Hogwood. Pat Patterson is here alongside. Pat, this is the biggest, the fastest track these guys race on all year, and I think that means a lot of excitement today.
It really does. The guys are excited about racing here. Number one, this is a very technical racetrack that you got to have a car that really handles good here. It's fast. You can't make mistakes, and all these guys know this is a quick racetrack.
And we really could see 2 winners here today. Andy Santerre has a huge lead in the points over Mike Olson. He could clinch the championship today, and what a thrill that must be to have it 3 years in a row.
Yeah, Andy Santerre and company have really done their work all year long. They've earned the opportunity to be champions, and who knows, today might be their day.
And up front today, a youngster, 21-year-old Tim Andrews is on the pole. What a thrill that has to be.
What a thrill it's got to be for his dad, for everybody who's worked to get his career to this point, and to start up front on a racetrack like this. You're right. That's the right word. It's going to be a thrill for him.
Yeah, his dad, of course, Paul Andrews, a famous Nextel Cup crew chief. Well, we're ready to go here. The starting lineup and the green flag on the way from Dover. Next on Speed.
Start your engines!
Well, the command has been given down on the pit lane, and the engines have fired. Glad to have you with us. I'm Mike Hogwood. Pat Patterson joins me here in the booth. Candace Kruger down on the pit lane. Just 2 races remain here in this Busch North Series season. Andy Santerre today with a good run could clinch the championship, but it is the youngster Tim Andrews on the pole. He's going to have to drop back because of an engine change, and everybody on his lane will move up a position. We're going to go 150 miles. They will have to make at least 1 stop for fuel and do have the opportunity to take on some tires as well. You can only take 2 tires on and stop. You're allowed 4 during the race. If you flat spot a tire or it gets damaged in an accident or something, they will allow you to change another tire, but NASCAR has to approve that change.
Yeah, and tires are not that big a factor here because of the fact that, A, we're not going that many laps. B, these tires don't wear out as fast. Once they get about 10 or 12 laps on them, they pretty much level off as to the speed that each car is going to carry. And from that point forward, really the tire stays pretty much the same, Mike. So tires, not a major issue, but they will be something to talk about later on.
Here's our starting grid, and we told you Tim Andrews, the youngster out of North Carolina on the pole, Paul Wolf alongside him.
Yep, row number 2 at Dover. You see the guys kind of wiggling the cars back and forth. Want to get a little bit of heat in those tires. Get warmed up as the afternoon sun starts to set here. We got plenty of sunlight to get us through the rest of the afternoon. As once again, the field right now is in 2 bunches, 2 pace cars out there, and we're just trying to get basically get around here and kind of salute the grandstands, get the tires warmed.
All right, now here's row 2 with Kelly Moore, the all-time winner in the series, and Brian Chu, one guy we didn't talk about, qualified 4th in the 99 Cup.
That could be a factor here this afternoon. As a matter of fact, as you just said, Kelly Moore picked up a win earlier this year, and it was a ton of fun to watch him win as one of the older statesmen here statesmen of our series. Here's row number 3, Ryan Moore. That's Kelly's son. And we'll talk some more about him this afternoon. He's got a great future in front of him. And Brian Hoare, very fast this year. This would be a great race for Brian to win, that's for sure.
Let's go back to row 4 now, and it's Eddie McDonald. Parents own the Lee Speedway, and Mike Gallo, who had a great run on Monday. He's a part-time driver in this series, but very talented on these big tracks.
Row number 5 of the starting grid, and that'll be Dale Quarterly. You heard from him a little bit earlier there, and Tracy Gordon in the 33 hasn't raced all the races with us this year, but it's great to see Tracy racing with us today.
And Tracy has a top 5 at this racetrack in this series back in 2001. Well, we told you about Matt Kobaluk, and he will be inside of row number 6 alongside Mike Stefanik, the former champion in this series. Stefanik hasn't had the season he'd liked. I think a win here late would certainly cure a lot of ills for him.
Yep, and one of those guys scratching his head this morning trying to figure out what to put under that race car to get it to go. So take a look at row number 7 in our starting grid. That is Brad Layton, who could really be a factor this afternoon, and the championship contender, the guy that could end up getting his 3rd championship today, Andy Santerre. Everything goes his way.
Row 8, Jamie Obey, a veteran who is 50 years old, 3-time series champion. And Mike Johnson, who has a win this season out of Salisbury, Mass.
Row number 9, starting grid, is Mike Olson. That's the guy that would love to upset the Santerre train this afternoon and maybe somehow or another get a chance to go to Wall Stadium with a chance to win the championship. Jerry Markey in car number 52 outside row.
And then one of the great characters on this series, Bill Penfold and Barney McRae. They're regulars. They don't run up front a lot, but they come to every race with a lot of hope.
Row number 11, as we continue to watch the cars circulate around the track, Joey McCarthy and Ryan Seaman, a couple of the younger guys that are looking to make their mark in this series, starting side by side.
Row 12, Don Wagner, who's a part-time competitor, and John Serbone, who makes the most out of his equipment every week in row number 12. Serbone out of City Island, the Bronx, New York, only New York City driver in our field.
Scott Booley goes off in row number 13 with the venerable one, Bobby Dragon, starting out outside in position number 26.
And then Kip Stockwell, number 16 on row 14. He will actually be driving one of Dale Quarterly's backup cars today, and they just put a 16 on it as he wasn't able to get his own personal car prepared for this race, but he is going to start the race in the 16th car, which is a Dale Quarterly backup car. That's your field here for the MBNA America 150. Our stories to watch, of course, the championship chase. Can Santerre clinch today? We'll keep you posted. And that's going to be a lot of excitement, a race within a race, so to speak.
Yeah, it will be, and I think Andy's up for the challenge. And, of course, Mike Olson would like to get a good run in here today, so we'll watch that. And you talk about the more factor. We're talking about, of course, Kelly and talking about his son Ryan and see how they do today. And, of course, pit strategy is always a big deal here, Mike.
Yeah, most of these guys will stop around halfway. The field is bunched up. And the pace car is pulled down onto the pit lane. We're about ready to go racing. Glad you're with us now for the MBNA America 150 from the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware.
Pull your belts tight. Hang on, folks. We're getting ready to race the Monster.
Yes, sir. Should be a great one. Green flag is out in Dover.
Looks good there, doesn't Mike?
Oh, indeed he does. Kelly Moore, who went right to the front. Already this season. Kelly Moore, who has more wins than anybody else. He leads Wolf, who is running in second place.
One car kind of slides up the racetrack. You wonder how Kelly Moore got out in front so fast. Well, he was right behind Tim Andrews, who had to go to the back of the field there. And you see where Kelly's starting to get challenged on the bottom just a little bit.
How about the car running third right now? That's Eddie McDonald, 23-year-old driver. That Ford out of Rowley, Massachusetts looks awfully strong. Quarterly running fourth. These guys are making some moves early here. We're only on lap 3 of 150.
Yeah, sure enough, Paul Wolf kind of slid up the racetrack. As you look at the 17 car, kind of got pushed up. Now those guys get nose to tail. Everybody needs to settle down, that group that's running there third, fourth, and fifth. Kind of be patient right here and let those tires come in for them.
One guy who's made a big move since the start of the race is Matt Kovaluk. He started 11th, and Kovaluk already up to the 5th position. And we're just 4 laps in.
He's looking down at the bottom under McDonald there. That's the orange and black car going after the white car, the 17. And Matt Kovaluk's now going to be challenged by Ryan Moore. Look at Moore coming on the bottom.
Ryan Moore in the 74 car. You mentioned about him earlier. He has made his big announcement. He signed a contract with DEI, Dale Earnhardt Enterprises, Incorporated for next year. And we'll be doing a lot of testing, driving a couple of Busch Series races. And he would like to make a big showing today in that 74 car. There's Ryan Moore has not won a race this season, just 21 years old. His best finish is third, and right now he's trying to take a position away from Kovalov.
It ain't going to be too hard because Matt Kovalov's car is really tight, really pushing off the bottom of the racetrack. He gets off that time a lot better than he did on the last lap. You see Ryan Moore in that white car kind of drifting down to the bottom, trying to see if he can get a wheel under it.
Well, Kip Stockwell has come on pit road, and this is really not a big deal because we talked about him driving that backup car for Dale Quarterly, and I think that was his plan, just to get out there and drive a couple of laps and then come on in and park it just to pick up a start for this race. How about this? The battle for the lead, and the 19 of Paul Wolf takes it away from the veteran Kelly Moore. Dale Quarterly comes along with him. He's in second place right now in the 32. We're back in a moment. You're watching NASCAR Grand National Division Racing in the Busch North Series here on Speed. Welcome back. You're watching racing in NASCAR's Grand National Division Busch North Series. Well, and he has really checked down and got a huge lead. We talked about Ryan Chew. He dropped back, and Mike Gallo's about to take that 8th place away from him. Chew, who started 4th, has lost 4 positions since the start of the race. Ryan Chew out of Manitowoc, New York. His family owns a car dealership on Long Island. His dad, Buzz Chew, a big part of that team's operation. And you see right behind him that light blue car of Mike Gallo. Gallo is a part-time competitor, but not by his choice. He finished 5th in the last race at New Hampshire. He works in construction down in Maiden, North Carolina. It says he'd really like to get a full-time job. Boy, something must be off in the Kelly Moore car.
Well, I think he just lost the handle on it. I mean, Kelly obviously had some problems a few minutes ago when he lost the lead to the 19 and to Dale Quarterly. And I don't think Kelly's found the handle on that yet, and it's probably going to take a pit stop and some major chassis adjustment to try to get his car to handle it. You see how it just wants to push up in the middle of the corner.
Man, let's talk a minute about these tires these guys are running. They are the old bias fly tires that the Cup Series used to race on, those kind of tires. And I talked to the drivers, and they said, you know, they steady out after some couple of laps, but the newness wears off these tires after 20 laps or so. And, you know, it's a different thing to try to get these bias fly tires to handle.
Well, it's all these guys ever know. The majority of these guys have not run on radial tires, and so therefore most of their ability to change the car is based on tire stagger, and that's one tire growing as the heat gets into it more than another tire, and you can actually control the car obviously with the amount of air pressure that there is in a tire. And bias fly tires build air pressure in a different way than radials do, so that you can lose the handle and you can get a handle on the car as far as you know, how you set the stagger up on these cars, and the camber of the wheels too. Very, very important here at a place like Dover with all this banking to work with. And Kelly may make, I mean, the 47 car, we were just talking about him, that may be the solution to his problems when he comes in, is to do some air pressure adjustments to try to get the car so that it'll turn in the middle of the corner, which it's obviously not doing right now.
I think Brian Chew's going to get him in a couple of minutes for that 7th position. Moore running 7th, Chew in the 99, who we talked about. Got a great starting spot, started 4th. Chew running 8th right now. Mike Gallo, I say watch out for him. And the guy lurking behind that group is Brad Layton. You can see him just at the top of your screen. You know, we talked about Layton, and I think he's running a little conservative now, just waiting for his opportunity. You may wonder about Andy Santerre. He's currently running in the 11th position.
Yeah, Andy talked to us about the fact that he didn't think he had that good a race car, but, you know, we're a long way from the end of this race. We're just now starting to lap cars. You see the 19 car getting around Bobby Dragon there and going around
Barney McRae.
Yeah, Barney McRae back there right behind him. So they were already starting to lap cars out here.
It didn't take long. When we talked about Andy Santerre, he just had to finish ahead of Olson. You see it. Look at Tim Andrews. Boy, he's made it up from the back of the field. Andrews has made it up to the 11th position in that 9 car. Santerre is currently running 12th, and you wonder where Olson is. Olson right now in the 18th position. So if the race ended at this moment, Santerre would be the champion. But the guy on the move in that 9 car, remember, he had to go all the way to the back on the pace laps, and he's come from the back 28th position and is now running 10th and is taking the position away from Chew. And now Boy, is he flying? You talk about a test motor?
Yeah, but let me tell you, he just took a whale of a chance going to the outside. He almost went up in what we call Never Never Land, and that's outside of that black tar that you see on the gray racetrack. You know, that's where you don't want to be because there's no grip up there whatsoever. So he really is slicing and dicing through the field, but he's got to have some patience here and don't make any dumb moves on the outside where that racetrack doesn't have any grip.
52 behind Andy Santerre, Jerry Marquis, Mike Stefanik right in front of him. Boy, Andrews has been impressive. Remember, he's the son of Paul Andrews. He's been a crew chief at many top levels, and there is Stefanik currently in the 12th position. Stefanik started 12th, so he's running right where he started the race.
Yeah, those two guys just kind of hold and serve right now. They're not gaining anything and not losing anything either. But you're right, the 9 car is a bullet right now, and he's really moving his way up through the field.
And he's done it in a hurry, just 25 laps. Santerre said he wanted to win the race today, but also told me his car just has never been that good.
Ooh, that's a tight little group.
I was going to say, a big pack that needs to be careful. Paul Wolf now running out all alone.
You know, in case you're new to this kind of racing, each one of these guys have another set of eyes up high in the grandstands that's watching what's going on and it's talking to each driver. It's called a spotter. And the spotter is responsible for telling you, whether there's a car. Oh, we got crashed in the front. Yeah.
It's Wagner and Joey McCarthy in the 64. There's fire on McCarthy's car.
Wow.
Wagner with some serious front-end damage. The caution is out. It's our first of the day.
Boy, those two cars really, really took a lick. But when we talk about the monster, there's what we're talking about. I mean, this place, there are no small accidents here. That's good to see both drivers moving around in the car. Both of them have dropped their window nets, too, and that's to tell NASCAR and the rescue workers that they're okay, that they're all right in the race car, while they're really fast to get there and check these guys out, get these fires out of these cars.
Of course, they will take a trip to the Infield Care Center. And Wagner out of Dover, New Jersey. Only his second race. He's won this year. He ran the first race of the season with Lee, New Hampshire. And running here is the safety crews talking to McCarthy. His helmet's off. And let's see what happened on this accident. The tail end of it. But obviously, those two got together and then hit that inside wall. And it was very unforgiving.
Well, that's a real serious part of this racetrack that's very difficult is when you're coming off turn number 4. Sometimes your car wants to come around on you right there, and you may have to pedal it a little bit. Sometimes when that happens, somebody gets into the back of you because you've slowed up and got out of the throttle. There's all kinds of things that can happen over there off of turn 4 and turn 2, two of the most treacherous places on this racetrack. It's good to see Joey walking away from this. Those really, that's a tough hit.
We're under caution here in the MBNA America 150. Our leader is Paul Wolf. Cleanup is complete. Pace car on the pit lane, and the green flag is back out on lap number 37 at the MBNA America 150. And again, Wolf, look at the jump he got on the restart.
Yeah, it looked like that Dale Quarterly thought that he might could get to the bottom on 1, and Tim Andrews actually just ran him right down to the bottom of the racetrack, wasn't about to let him get around, and somebody was talking in his ear about who was coming in second place right then on that restart.
I sit up here and watch Andrews. He is just so impressive. And his dad has really set up a great race car. We'll see if he can catch those leaders. But right now, nobody has had anything for Wolf. Dale Quarterly in that 32 car. Remember, he won at Loudon, the first North Series race at Loudon this year. Seems to be hanging with him now after Wolf got that good start on the restart.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I said, Dale Quarterly, car that's running second right now. We talked this morning. He's just shaking his head going, oh, my gosh, I just have no idea what kind of setup to get me a good, comfortable race car I need to have. But whatever decisions they made some good ones because right now his car is really working going down to the bottom. Here comes that 9 car again.
Not much of a battle right there as Andrews blows by Eddie McDonald to take over the 4th spot. How about that? Coming from dead last to now running 4th in 41 laps.
He is really on a mission right now. That car is working as good as you can ask one to work as he heads after Mike Johnson.
Well, Mike Johnson is a lap down. So that's a lap car, and he's going to overtake it, I think, in a big hurry.
Yeah,
he's got to be careful here.
This is what we're going to talk about, Mike. You really got to be careful. Closing rates again on cars that are a lot slower. Take your time. You got plenty of time this afternoon to get a good finish here. You don't need to get too much in a hurry or get impatient with a particular car, even if he's a lap down. So,
you know, and Mike Johnson, even though he's a lap down, he's a pretty solid driver. He's got a win this year at Waterford. Won one race in each of the last 5 years, has Johnson. So that's not chopped liver out there.
No, Mike's a good race car driver, and on my trip through the garage this morning, he was another one of those guys that said, man, I just don't have much of a handle on this thing. Woo, that gets a little dicey.
Wow. Almost 3 wide with Moore and Stefanik. Gallo right behind them in the 88. That's Kelly Moore in the 47. Andy Santerre trying to make his way into the top 10. If he passes Moore, he will be in 9th place.
Well, remember what Mike Stefanik told us a few minutes ago? He saw that 9 car tried out there on the outside, so he's getting up there higher up on the racetrack and trying to see if his car will work a little better up there. But that little exchange right there kind of knocked him back a little bit. But he was trying that outside groove, and Kelly Moore was right in front and held him up.
So Andy Santerre is starting to go a little bit here on lap 45. Really, you know, he said he had nothing to lose today. I mean, the championship is pretty much going to be his, even if he should wreck out of a race early. So he could take some chances, and Kelly Moore continues to slide backwards through the field. He took the lead on the first lap, and now with Jerry Marquis in that 52 flying by him, he is going to drop way down to the 13th position.
Yeah, he's having a tough afternoon right now. I think it's Tracy Gordon down there on the bottom, too, that Kelly was just challenging there a moment ago. You see, Brad Layton almost got loose down there in the corners. He moved out to the backstretch. But, you know, there's Layton right there. He's going after Billy Penfold, who also is a lap down in the 0 car.
Layton running 16th right now. You mentioned Tracy Gordon in that 33 right there in the center of your screen a moment ago. And as Layton passes Penfold and is now in 15th place. And right there was the battle for 15th. Tracy Gordon hasn't run a lot of races this year, but he also is coming off a bad race at New Hampshire where he finished 22nd, but he did finish 5th here in 2002. Brad Layton documented his story this season. What a great one it's been with wins at Thompson, Lime Rock, also Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Tracy Gordon kind of pushed up there just a little bit as Layton was starting to move to the outside. Now looks like he's going to get the lane again, but he's going to catch Kelly Moore here in just a second. That's the 47 car in front of Brad Layton. And again, Kelly's just really having some problems with his race car and kind of holding up there, but Brad Layton trying to work around it.
This, the middle of the pack. This is the battle for 13th position. Brad Layton, a 3-time winner this season, trying to take that position away from Kelly Moore. Tracy Gordon back there in the 33, and as I said, Tracy Gordon has had a solid run here in this race in the past. Matter of fact, the last time this series was here.
Brad Layton finally makes the move there, but Brad's kind of also got a handful of a race car right now in terms of not wanting to turn up off the corner. As I watched him try to go around Kelly Moore, there really looks like he has to test the car a lot to finally get around.
You're watching racing in NASCAR's Grand National Division Busch North Series.
Yeah, those guys are really battling hard back there and having some good racing between them. As Andy Santerre's down on the bottom, and Brian Chu looks like the 55 car is about to catch Brian Chu and try to work around him off of turn 4.
I don't know if we're going to have a battle for the lead anytime soon, but I think Andrews is about ready to give Dale Quarterly a battle. You look at him, he is catching up to him in a hurry.
Yeah, and Quarterly's car bobbled right there as he was getting in. I think he knew the 9 was coming, or maybe even said, I need to move up a little bit and give him a chance. But sure enough, the 9 car is putting it on him down to 1 and 2.
Well, this is big. Here he is. Tim Andrews has made his way, making the pass. He is back into 2nd place. And Dad has to be happy. Wow. From last to 2nd. How about that?
He's passed 25 cars on the racetrack in 60 laps. That's pretty impressive.
I'll say. And remember, we talked about the engine. being a test motor, and really, I think it's the handling of that race car right now that has gotten it up to second place. It's not about the motor at all.
No question about that. And shock, springs, all the setup, everything up underneath that race car is working, like he wants it to work, because he's the guy that's got to drive it. He's got a good feel for it right now, and this has got to be truly exciting for him.
Well, he's almost 6 seconds behind the leader, so it's going to be a while.
Yeah, but we still got a pit stop to go, so there's all kinds of strategy that can play out here.
Now remember, that's going to be a key because most of these guys don't have a full-time pit crew. There are a lot of races that are run on this series where a pit crew isn't even needed. So it will be interesting to see who's rented a pit crew, who's got the guys that are...
You don't think Paul Andrews has got a pit crew standing there, do you?
My point is, I'm willing to bet, and I know Candace Kruger can check this out, that there are some guys who change tires for a living who are down there in that number 9 pit.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, there's a lot of pit crews waiting to finish up with their daily activities here that are racing on Saturday and Sunday at this place. And I'll guarantee you there's a bunch of them out there on that pit road right now getting ready to help some of these guys.
And you know what? I think the way this race is being run, that's going to be a huge story in the race, is who's able to come on pit road, particularly if we stay under green now because we're less than 10 laps away from halfway.
Yeah, and there's some question as to when everybody's going to pit right now. So, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of crew chiefs right now kind of scratching their head going, okay, it's time to start thinking about a pit stop. Not necessarily time to make one. As you see, one car came on the pit road there. But time to start thinking about when we want to pit, when's it going to be best time to pit as we're back up there looking for Brad Layton.
Brad Layton is a guy who just can't crack that top 10. He's way back in 13th. And Andy Santerre has dropped back a little bit as well. Santerre, as the Hamlin's gone away on that. I think these guys now are all getting a little bit loose. The tires are getting a little bit loose. They're a few laps away from needing to come in for some fuel. They cannot go the entire distance on fuel here. And it's about halfway that they're really going to need to take on a full fuel load. But you've got to believe that the handling on these cars has really gone away, and these cars are getting bad loose, as they call it, with some worn-out race tires.
Yeah, what happens again, if you're kind of new to the sport, wow, Brad Layton goes way up the racetrack. Is the more laps you run, obviously the slipperier the racetrack gets, and the more time you have to take in the middle of the corner before you can stand back on the gas. This isn't one of those racetracks that you can hold the throttle wide open all the way around it, even in its best day. I mean, there are times when you can just about doing that, but that's like qualifying. Here you got to kind of breathe that throttle a little bit, keep that momentum going, let the car roll through the center of the corner, and be able to get back into the gas as quickly as you can. And as the tires wear out, the track gets slicker, it gets more and more difficult to do that, and the guys that really accelerate now and pass a lot of cars are the ones that have to do as little of the others as they can each lap.
Well, by my count now, there are just 13 cars remaining on the lead lap of this long green flag run. Paul Wolf flying around this racetrack.
Yeah, we've only had one caution flag, and I hope that's all we have this afternoon, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure all these cars that started this race get a chance to finish. We've already had a couple that are not going to finish here this afternoon because of that one caution flag. But nevertheless, you're right. It's getting exciting to figure out when somebody's going to start hitting the pit road.
Exactly. There's Andy Santerre, who...
He's really used the high line of that racetrack right now.
That's why I said he's moved up high, and he's running 8th doing it. This is his best position of the day. And Mike Olson back at 15th, so now 7 positions separate the top 2 in points.
Yeah, Andy just lets his car, he gets it off into the corner, watches him take it down to the bottom. Now watch how the car will come up the racetrack, time in the corner, and then he can go back into the throttle again. So he's really making the best use out of the way his car's handling right now by letting the car drift up big time in the middle of the corner. He does it again right here. Now nails the gas up off the corner. You still got to feather it. You can't just stand your right foot on that throttle. You still got to feather it a little bit right there, but doing a great job of it. As you said, probably got the best track chance so far.
Brad Layton in front of him. But another thing that Andy Santerre really's got to like right now is nobody really around him. It's a good feeling here. Just want to make sure you finish.
I think the lead, caution's out. Caution's out on the racetrack. And wow, this really changes the way everybody might have been thinking. Yeah.
What a break. We will see all of the leaders coming down on pit road now. as caution is out for the second time today.
I'm trying to figure out exactly why. I thought I saw some debris on the backstretch, but I'm not sure. Yeah, turn 2. I thought I saw some debris that kind of got kicked up into the groove off of turn 2. But obviously NASCAR saw that, and that's the reason we got caution on the racetrack.
All of these drivers are glad to see it, and I'm sure as soon as pit road is open, we will see Paul Wolf, Tim Andrews, Dale Quarterly, Ryan Moore, and Brian Hoare. That's your top 5. Peel off and head down onto the pit lane.
And then let me tell you something. What these guys aren't used to doing is what they're getting ready to do. No matter how good Paul Wolf's been out on the racetrack or Tim Andrews, making pit stops to them is still a new science. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do on the pit stop.
This could be the key part of the race. Let's go down to Candace Kruger.
Well, guys, you talked earlier about the fact that Tim Andrews' crew chief is his father, Paul, and he's obviously had a lot of experience crew chiefing some very professional race car drivers. Now, I asked him earlier if the rest of the crew were professional as well. He said no, they weren't. They're rookies, just like all these other guys. And I also asked him how Tim was saying the car felt. He said that he is asking for fresh tires, so this will be a good time for those guys to come in.
All right, they're on pit road right now.
Here we go.
Is your leader, Paul Wolf. Tim Andrews is your second place runner right now in the 9 car, and we will follow these pit stops.
Yeah, the real blessing is they're getting to do this under yellow. They're not having to do it under green.
And remember, they can only change 2 tires per stop. That means they could come around and put 2 more on, but Wolf taking left sides, and even more importantly, taking on fuel.
That was a good stop. That was a good stop for the 19. I didn't see where the 9 is right now, but that was a good stop for the. Here's the 9.
They're having some trouble. 19
should be coming by him right there. The leader comes by, and you're right. They're having problems on the right-hand side. Come on, guys. Oh, they got problems on the right rear. Problems on the right rear.
Boy, that is just really
well,
tough.
You know what, though, Mike? It's okay. Because, honestly, when you got a car that's that fast, he didn't lose that many spots doing what he just did right there. Honestly, I don't think that probably hurt him as much as he probably thinks it does right now sitting in the race car.
I'm sure he's not happy in the cockpit of that race car. Now, the interesting thing is, will they come back around and make yet another stop? And they took right sides on and come back in and take on left sides.
I think that's, I think you're seeing him right now come back down the pit road. That's exactly what all the leaders are going to do, is come down and go ahead and get those other 2 tires so that they can go the rest of the distance.
Saw Ryan Moore there. So the field is going to shake up a little bit with these pit stops that are being made under caution. There's Andrews, who had been running second. Wolf, the leader. Pretty impressed with the pit crew of Paul Wolf. And again, these are not professionals. These guys aren't like we see on Saturdays and Sundays that work and practice all week long.
No, but it is interesting, too. Remember, we were talking about bias ply tires, we were talking about tire stagger and so forth. Now, we're going to put a different set of tires on this car, and that can make a very big difference in the way the car handles here when we go back to green.
Well, I just saw some of those guys in uniform on the Paul Wolf crew, and they had some help from some of the other garages that were here changing those tires, and that was pretty evident.
Yeah, I have no doubt. And again, it's going to be interesting to see if the 19 and the 9 have as good a handling race cars, particularly on this next restart when we get back going again, as they did, during the first part of the race.
We're back in a moment. You're watching NASCAR Grand National Division Racing in the Busch North Series here on Speed. Pit stops are complete. These guys should be good to go from here to the end of the race, which will be lap 150. The restart on lap 87. Let's see if Layton can hold on to that lead.
Real slow down on the bottom. That's Kelly Moore. Wow, everybody checked up big time going down into 1 and 2 there. There's Kelly Moore slipping back there. Oh, it was a 5-car. Barney McRae was Barney's car. Those 2 cars got similar paint schemes, but Barney's car backs up big time on the get-go there.
Layton able to hold on to the lead here on the first couple of laps.
We talk about the fact that Layton just comes to try to win these races, Mike. He doesn't race. He's not racing for points. He's just racing for wins. And Layton's car now is going to get a taste of that clean air out there. And he's had a great race car every time we've watched him race this year. He's been in contention to win these races.
He has won 3 so far this year. He won 2 in a row at Thompson and Lime Rock. Layton also won the road course race at Watkins Glen and leads here in Dover, Delaware, but Wolf drawing ever closer to his rear bumper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch Paul now really have to really work against Layton.
Candace will be checking to see how many tires he took. It would be interesting to note if he took 2 or 4, because Wolf is on 4 fresh ones, we know, right behind him, and is trying to take him on the inside right now. Candace, how many tires did he take on that stop?
Guys, you're absolutely right. He did only take 2 tires. I spoke to his crew chief. He said they're just taking a little bit of a gamble. I asked him how the car was running. He said it did feel a little tight. Another thing to mention is that, I don't know if you can see behind me, they've got a slew of different crew members working. They were short. They just picked up some extra crew from various crews throughout this series. So who knows? You know, that's tough, because they've got to be able to communicate and got to have a communication there between their crew.
Well, and you know, it may be a gamble, Mike, but it was probably a calculated one, because if he thought he didn't have a fast enough car to beat the 19 anyway, you know, why not? You know, put it out front and see what you can get out of it. You know, at the end of the day, the track position he got was maybe worth it in his mind. As you see the 19 really working the bottom of it.
I just don't think he's going to be able to hold off Wolf in those 4 fresh tires, with Layton only on 2.
No, he's waving him around. You see that? He just told him, says, "Hey, look, bud, my hands are up. I'll let you go here. I'm going to get out of the way and let you take off." And it's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he realized that Wolf was fast. That's a very sportsmanship thing to do. And I don't know if you saw it. We're able to see it on your screen, but he actually stuck his hand out the window. I have not seen that much in racing. I think we got a replay of it. We'll take a look at it again. Watch the window.
Yeah, he's, you know, and they teach us this in NASCAR. When you learn to drive these race cars, they tell you to use these hand signals. Well, this is one hand signal that is always a pleasure to see. And you can say that that's a sportsmanlike move, but you can also say that that's self-preservation. Because when you got a guy that's coming as hard as that 19 is back there, and probably as hungry as he is right there, the last thing you wanted that 19 car was to get into the back of you, you know, and your day early. So better to get on out of the way and take the spots you can get. And maybe Brad Layton can hang on to the top 5. The 9 car's coming after Layton now, though.
And he's been fast all day. Tim Andrews, who went to the back after winning the pole, had to change a motor. And boy, once Wolf got by, this is what I thought.
Ooh,
there's
problems
on Andrews. He's blown up again.
Hold on to it. That's a dangerous place to have something go wrong on the racetrack.
Oh, what a tough break. Tim Andrews, and this is what they were afraid of, and what up here we were afraid of, an R&D motor, and would it last the day? It will not.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, what kind of motor is this, and how many races it got on? He said, Pat, this motor's just kind of a piece-together motor from this and that and the other, and one of those pieces is gone.
But you know what, Pat? And that is that Tim Andrews showed us something today. He showed his talent today. So a lot of folks who were here watching this 21-year-old who, with a piece-together motor, made it back from the back of the field up to second place, and it just wouldn't last past 97 laps.
Well, I feel for him, because he's going to get out of that race car in a minute, and it's not going to matter to him how well he ran, you know, up to this point or anything else. All he's going to be thinking about is, I could have contended for the win today. I could have gone after the win today, and I didn't get a chance to do it. And that's a hard pill and a swallow. But as you just said, his daddy right there, I guarantee you, is busting with pride right now as to how good his son ran here at Dover today.
I guarantee you he's saying, I'm really proud of you. Come on in and we'll get him again another day. But Paul Andrews has to be proud of what his son did and how he made it up through the field. And he really had a race car, just not enough motor.
And again, to contrast the highs and lows of this sport, that guy right there in that 19 car now, he is feeling, ooh, and there goes Bill
into the wall. That's Bill Penfold. Hard that front end hit the wall.
Hold on to it. Hold it up there.
And caution is out now for the 3rd time today.
Don't let it come back down the racetrack. That scares me to death. Get that foot off the brake. That's a hard place to hold. Folks, you don't have any idea how steep that bank is right there. That's pretty hard. You got to stand on that pedal as hard as you can to not let that car roll back. He's just waiting for a spotter to say, okay, let it roll back down the racetrack.
Bill Penfold, 42-year-old driver out of Yarmouth, Maine.
What happened to you? Good night. You see that thing just turned right on him. He had to have blown a tire.
I was going to say, that right front must have just given out on him.
I mean, he's in the middle of the straightaway, and that thing turned right on him.
He was running in 17th position, 1 lap down.
Poor old Billy.
You know, Bill this year has raced with a broken ankle. He's raced with a broken hand. One race he came to this year, he couldn't drive the race car with the cast on his hand, so he cut it off to drive. This is a guy who is a diehard driver.
Man, you got to be careful there, man. Guys will get hurt. Hold on to that race car. And safety workers up there trying to get shock blocks under those tires so that that car won't go down the racetrack. You see Billy, Billy looks a little dazed here. He took a whale of a hit.
He really did. As I said then, he hit very, very hard. Well, we are under caution as Bill Penfold has crashed. Paul Wolfe still leads the MBNA America 150. Hey, guess what? We're ready to go back green flag racing. As the pace truck is onto the pit lane and the cars are bunched up, we're a little fewer cars than we had to start this race as Stockwell, Wagner, McCarthy, Tim Andrews, and now Bill Penfold have all had to drop out. 45 laps to go.
I'm going to guarantee you this will be the longest 45 laps this young guy driving Paul Wolfe up front has ever had if he can get out in front and hang on to this thing. Pretty good restart.
Exactly. Paul Wolfe, he's been tough on these restarts all day.
And look, Quarterly on the box.
Hey, Quarterly says it's time to go. The 32 is making a move.
You know, he was running, I think he said 5th here a couple years ago and ran out of gas. He said, we're not going to run out of gas today. He was running heat on the 19 car.
He really is. Layton's running 3rd. Andy Santerre's made his way up to 4th. And don't look now, but the guy you talked to earlier, Mike Stefanik, has found the handle on his race car. He's running 5th.
It's going to get good. It really is. If the 19 doesn't get away on these guys, looks like he's kind of pulling away on Quarterly now. But Quarterly looked good there a minute ago. Really closed up.
Wolfe last lap was about 1/10 of a second quicker than Quarterly. I'll tell you the difference between Quarterly and Layton is not much.
Well, remember we talked about the fact that you put a different set of tires on this car than you had on it to begin with. And all these tires react differently. And this set of tires might not be as good for the 19 as the first set there. You see Santerre working on Brad Layton.
You know, remember Santerre now has taken on 4 tires. That 2-tire change may catch up to Layton before this race is over. But you were saying he had to do it. It was a smart, calculated risk. It gave him his track position. He just wasn't able to hold up. 40 laps to go now here in the MBNA America 150.
Andy's still going up to that high groove. Even though he's got fresh tires on now, he's still kind of going up to that high groove. I think he's really found a good place on the racetrack where his car really works.
11 cars remain on the lead lap. Jerry Marquis is the last car on the lead lap. Andy Santerre hoping to clinch his championship today, running 4th. Mike Olson right now is running 13th. So all Santerre has to do to repeat the scenario is to finish ahead of Olson. He's the series champion for the 3rd year in a row, and that is some accomplishment.
Andy's real talented. He really is. Andy's not one of the young guns these days, although he is still very much a young man. And as we talked about this morning, he and I, you know, he wants to go out of this business a champion behind the wheel, and certainly with 3 championships, you know, nobody will ever forget that. I mean, he's done the job behind the wheel.
In fact, guess what? You know, there's a race coming up in Bakersfield in the West Series that you're not going to be able to make.
Yep.
And guess who we're getting to replace you? Andy Santerre.
I already heard.
That's going to be that's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't quite understand that. I mean, if he gets to do this, then why don't I get back in one of his race cars and go for race there? Now that would be a good trade.
That might be a possible deal. Maybe we'll talk to Andy about that, one of his backup cars.
Yeah, trust me, he ain't giving me that race car.
Oh, my! Oh, he got real close to Brad Layton then.
Oh, he's got a good run going now down in the corner. Let's see if he can make the car stick at the bottom. Ooh, Brad gets way up the racetrack.
And guess what? Forget about clinching the championship. Santerre's now going for the win. He's in 3rd place.
Yeah, sometimes you watch this replay. Sometimes when you come off the corner, the cars actually almost, that wind in between the two of them, that air in between will actually bring them closer together. Watch this. Ooh, and both drivers knew it. You can see Leighton turn the wheel back to the right just a little bit because he knew right then just how close those cars were going to come with each other. And that's two professionals at their best right there off the corner here at Dover.
Andy Santerre running third behind Dale Quarterly and Paul Wolf. And this top 5 finish would certainly be good enough to go to the championship.
Right now, the key for Paul Wolf is to quit worrying about Dale Quarterly and focus as hard as he can on trying to find another line on the race car. I've noticed a few times he keeps running that same line over and over and over. You know, he's going to need maybe to search around a little bit, but his car's not handling like he wanted it to. And see right there, see how loose, how loose the car was right there?
Yeah.
And watch Quarterly now. He's going to close up on him big time. And he did. Here comes Quarterly. He's going to come down on the bottom. And Quarterly's going to try to make the pass, and he runs it up the racetrack just a little bit. But we have ourselves a new leader, it looks like here, Mike, off of 4.
What a battle.
Yeah, that was great. That was really good.
Dale Quarterly, we saw him bobble a couple of times. He made the least little mistake. And here comes Quarterly now to take the lead.
And he did exactly what I knew he was going to do, and that was focus on finding himself a spot that he could get a pass put together, and he did that. He waited on the 19 to make a mistake, and then he took advantage of that. Now the 19 is back in position now to see if he can find Quarterly's weakness and see if he can find his way back to the front.
You know what, Eddie, but Paul Wolf has not spent much of this race outside of that clean air that you get when you're the leader up front. And Quarterly, after taking the lead, putting a little distance on Mr. Wolf now, who made a couple of bobbles, and it cost him.
Dale's going to have more experience at hunting a line, find a line on the racetrack that his car will work best, and Paul Wolf isn't going to have that experience here at a place like Dover. So advantage Quarterly from that standpoint. But I still think the 19 car is a better race car than the 32 right now on the racetrack.
The lap car of Scott Booley is that 26 car, but Dale Quarterly, 43 years old, out of Westfield, Massachusetts, has taken the lead. He had a tremendous win earlier this season in the first race at Loudon, New Hampshire. He's known as a road course expert, finished second at Lime Rock, third at Watkins Glen, as you might expect. And then this past Monday, had a 4th place finish in the second visit to Loudon, New Hampshire.
I'll tell you something about motorcycle racers, which Dale Quarterly used to be, and that is that they have a feel for tire that is probably as good or better than any other form of auto racer or motorcycle race, any kind of racer in the world. Quarterly has a really, really good feel for that tire, and that really helps him a lot.
Pat, we just saw the 88 car of Mike Gallo pass Eddie McDonald. That's the battle for 9th place. Gallo, the story we told you about, the construction worker from Maiden, North Carolina, wants desperately to get a full-time ride. And on these speedways, at least, Gallo has been very, very impressive and is now one of 11 cars that remain on the lead lap here in Dover. In one lap, we'll have 20 laps remaining here in the MBNA America 150. It's a good race so far. Pretty clean race. Just 3 cautions.
Oh, looked like Ron Chew maybe got into the wall with there a little bit.
As soon as I said that, Chew,
Did he get
Chew's a piece of the wall. Don't see the flag. I'm looking down at the flag stand, and I don't see it yet.
Oh, and he had help. There's Ryan Moore. Now, question is, remember we talked about closing speeds? You know, that may have been one of those deals right there where Ryan misjudged how fast the 99 was going, or the 99 had a problem in the middle of the corner right there. But he pancaked the right side of that car over there.
And Chew is taking no chances. It's going to come down to the attention of his crew.
Well, a lot of times you can cut a tire like that, or some of that sheet metal, and caution is out on the racetrack, and that is not what Dale Quarterly wanted to see.
No, sir. He did not want to see the yellow flag. It is our 4th of the day. Understand there's 3 in turn 3. And I think yeah, it is. That fender's rubbing on that right front tire, and they're going to have to get that fender off there. And that's a very smart move by Brian Chew, because you cut that tire down and then you're flat out into the wall.
Mike, did Leighton come back and get his other 2 tires? 35 car. He hadn't got 4 tires yet, has he? He only took 2 so far. Looked like to me that Brian got a little bit loose. Ryan tried to check up, not to turn him, and it was just hard to hold on to him. 99. I don't think Ryan did to do anything there except just try to get out of the way.
Hang on, baby. This is going to be some finish. Because I think you were talking about Brad Layton only wanting to win. Paul Wolf has no intention of finishing second in this race.
Well, he's got a race car that was not handling at all when we had that caution come out. So Dale Quarterly may get away just because the 19 holds up Santerre and Layton. But we'll just have to see.
Green flag is out. Ready to race to the finish here in the MBNA American 15 laps remain. And you're right. Boy, Quarterly got a nice jump there on the restart. Wolf trying to hang with it. You see the difference. Santerre running in 3rd place.
I'm sure Paul Wolf's crew chief got on the radio to him and said, "Look, buddy, just do the best you can here. Try to find a place on that racetrack that the car feels good to you, and then get all you can with it. Don't worry about the guy in front of you right now. Just worry about trying to get that race car to get around this track as fast as you can. Find a good line that works, and hang on to get a good finish here this afternoon."
Dale Quarterly has gotten a nice jump on Wolf, and Wolf appears to me to still be a little bit loose out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, that didn't fix itself over that caution. You might have cooled your tires off, and it might have gotten a little bit tighter there on him and so forth, but it didn't fix the problem that he had before we had that caution flag.
And I think Andy Santerre would be really happy with 3rd place. Mike Olson right now is running 13th. And that differential would easily give Santerre the championship when this race is over with. Brad Layton again. That's Andy Santerre.
Just moving it. He's just motioning for 74.
Santerre with his hand out the window saying, "Hey,
come on.
You know, Ryan, come on, take the spot because I'm getting ready to celebrate the championship, and I don't want to put anything near the wall."
Oh, exactly right. He doesn't want to have any problems at all with that 74 car. He is 6 laps this time by from his 3rd national title. Busch North champion. That's a big deal.
Really is, and especially to win 3 in a row, to be that consistent. We've got to also talk about the car owner, Joe Bessie, who was a good driver in his own right, and you heard Andy mention about him. He is a great owner of the car, and they're really so supportive of what this Busch North Series is all about. And they have, for the last 3 years at least, been the class of it all. More in Santerre now side by side.
I hope he's not too good at my job out in Bakersfield. I don't want to lose the whole job. You know?
Nobody can replace you. Nobody.
Come on, Andy, drive that thing home, man. Come home to a championship. That's exciting, and I'm sure Upshot Hardware is excited to be riding alongside there with Andy on his way to the championship, getting down to 5 laps to go. And Ryan Moore hasn't got around it yet. He got an invitation, but he hasn't got it done.
Fastest 8 cars remain on the lead lap. Brian Hoare has had to drop out. He's had an engine problem. And Jerry Marquis just got a black flag as he is leaking some fluid out on the racetrack. So he too has dropped off of the lead lap.
Dale Quarterly has had himself a whale of an afternoon. There's your leader right there. And man, he is just, that's something he didn't let on at all this morning in the garage. He had that kind of race car. And obviously they made some great calls on what they brought out here this afternoon to race.
Dale Quarterly, 3rd in points. And there's smoke and an accident out on the racetrack.
That's Layton's car. That's Layton's car. Right rear tire is down on it. And I don't know if he got it in the wall or just blew the tire. It's a front right tire.
It's a front right tire. And it looks like there might be a damage on the left front. He did. I was looking down on the racetrack, and he did hit that inside guardrail.
Let's take a look and see what we can see here. Off of 4. Whew. That's scary for those couple guys
just
there.
a little bit.
Yeah, Mike Stefanik and the company there did a good job of not running over Layton as he was sideways in the racetrack. There comes Brad out of the car. I'm sure very disappointed.
Hey, and another guy with a uniform just like Candace's.
Yeah, and I tell you what I wonder. I wonder if he had a tire go down on him and they changed left side tires, and those right side tires are brand new, still sitting on the wall back there in the pit area.
Oh, he's going to regret if that's the case. I'm not sure whether they change rights or lefts, but the bottom line is there's a caution out. And remember, we will not end under caution. There will be a green-white checker finish with just a couple scheduled laps remaining. Starting on a single file restart here. We're ready to go green. We ought to see the pace truck pull down on the pit lane this time. And we'll see. Will it be Dale Quarterly? Will it be Paul Wolf? Will it be Ryan Moore? Or could it be Andy Santerre?
I just hope the 19 car uses his head here. Doesn't give up second place if he can't catch Quarterly on the get-go.
And remember Ryan Moore, he has not won a race in this series.
Oh, car spinning to the back.
Oh my gosh, Ryan Moore's in trouble.
Yeah, there's a number
Several
of
cars behind him. Is Santerre in that? Yes,
Andy
Santerre's
Santerre's
in it too.
Andy Santerre, but he can get across the line here. He can get across the line. He's coming across. Both Moore cars are coming across. That's Kelly Moore in the blue car, and the white car is Ryan Moore. And Andy's going to come across the line.
Boy, but he's got a major tire run.
Well, not only that, if he can finish, I think he's going to still be ahead of Olson for the championship. He had to finish in front of Mike Olson for the championship. We'll have to wait and see if that's the way it ends up here.
Olson was a lap down.
That's what I'm saying.
Olson was one lap down, so
if Andy finishes on the lead lap, he's gonna still win this championship.
We'll wait for the word, the official word. Boy, some high drama there.
And we should see the checkered flag come out because NASCAR only gives them one chance to do this green-white checkered deal, and if it doesn't happen, then it will finish under white and checkered flag, or under checkered and caution flag. We'll see if that's the case here. If they got the green or if they didn't get the green, that's the question.
Let's try to see what happened here.
Mike Stefanik coming up hard there on Andy, but I think it happens in front of it. Watch the white car. Yeah, it looked like the 74 somehow kind of bobbled a little bit. Mike Stefanik had nowhere to go on Andy from the rear. He got into Andy. That turned Andy sideways, and the wreck was also in front of Andy with the 74 and the 47.
Well, you know what? I think we're going to have to do this all over again.
Yeah, maybe because we didn't get no, I think they're coming to the pit road. That's it. It's over. The race is over. There's Andy Santerre coming down to the pit road, and he's going to come into the attention apparently.
Well, they got to pull that stuff off the tires.
Well, exactly right. And what's happened here, folks, is because this happened on the green flag, and we did not actually get the green flag, or these guys didn't get the green flag, it looks like they're going to give a green-white checker again.
Right. Now, the question is Andy Santerre able to stay on the lead lap? I was looking down, and I did not see the checkered flag looking down at the flag stand.
If the pits are open, the cars are still circulating on the racetrack, so this race is still going on. And as long as he gets off the pit road in front of the pace car here and stays on the lead lap, which I think he's done, then he can still clinch this title section.
All right, he's dropped back to the last car on the lead lap, which is 6th. Olson is 9th.
Right, just judging from what I'm seeing on the crew right there, they know that they're still on the lead lap, and all they've got to do is ride around for these next 2 laps. Yeah, maybe Candace can get us official word on that, but that's what we think is happening here. We did not get the green-white checker actually started, so they're going to give them another chance at it to settle the race.
All right, the word is Santerre is going to be behind Mike Gallo, starts 6th, but the news for Santerre is he's on the lead lap.
Yeah, this is the replay again of what just happened.
Now watch the 74 car. That's the car that bobbled.
Yeah, the 74 is right up tight on the 19. You see how tight he was? And they get the green flag. Somewhere or another, the 74 doesn't come up to speed. It's the bottom line. Whether or not the 19 slowed it down, or whether or not he missed the shift or whatever, the 74 didn't come up to speed. The 55 didn't have anywhere to go. He gets into the 6 and it's on.
And you see Santerre now catching up and getting his place in line because it's a single file restart. So he will start behind the 88 of Mike Gallo. Gallo's had a good run today.
Yeah,
Another good run.
Yeah, and most likely what's going to happen, Mike, is he's going to pull down to the bottom, let Gallo go on. And Andy just wants to ride around and get these 3 laps out of the way. I'm sure he doesn't want to put himself with a race car. He's not sure it's all back together after that incident. He certainly doesn't want to have a situation where he doesn't finish the race.
Again, now we've run 156 laps of a 150-lap race, but we will not end under caution. We'll have a green-white checker.
Yeah.
So we'll go green next time by, and we'll try to decide this all over again.
What a twist and turn race this has been for the guys up front. And my goodness, what is Dale Cornwell getting right now up front?
Well, Ryan Moore is not being posted on the lead lap. He's actually being posted in the 12th position. It'll be Quarterly, Wolf, Stefanik, and McDonald. So Mike Stefanik, who hasn't won a race this year, his best finish, 2nd place at Waterford. 2nd place at Thompson. He's had 4 top 5 finishes this year. So wow. Stefanik is now in the 3rd position. That is the blue and white hood right there behind Wolf in the 19. There's the 55 and the 17 of McDonald. Back working on that car more than just trying to get that sheet metal in some kind of position to run in that.
Come on, boys, get this thing where we can go. Pace car's coming. I got to get this thing off the pit road. Yeah, that's
a team that's smelling championship right there. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's some sophisticated body work going on there on that race car.
All right, let's try to decide it again. Here we go. Green, white, checkered finish in Dover, Delaware. Good jump for your leader, Dale Cornwell. Stefanik making a move on Wolf for 2nd place. Look at Stefanik up on the outside.
There's some smoke coming out of Mike Stefanik's car there because he got up to the top side of the race.
But he's not giving it up. Boy, Stefanik, what a battle that's going to be.
Paul Wolf trying to hold on to 2nd there, but Mike Stefanik's coming to the white flag.
White flag is out. 1 more lap for Dale Cornwell. Stefanik and Wolf have got a dogfight going for 2nd place.
And Cornwell's just saying, don't wreck, please, don't wreck behind me. Let me get this over with.
What a day for Dale Cornwell.
Look at this race for 2nd, though, man, as they head off into 3.
And a good job by Wolf fighting off the veteran, Mike Stefanik.
Come on, Cornwell. There's the checker.
The checkers are out.
Oh, wreck behind.
Dale Cornwell wins. Stefanik got popped. I think that was McDonald who hit him. And McDonald credited with 3rd place.
Wow.
And there's the crew of Dale Cornwell, 43-year-old driver out of Westfield, Massachusetts. And how about Andy Santerre's crew?
The championship crew.
They have just won this series championship for the 3rd year in a row. What a performance by the team headed up by their owner, Joe Bessie, and their crew chief, Roger Tryon. Little celebration going on.
Oh, that's so cool. And 2 wins for the season, those 2 fingers up there, and big wins too, man. Loudon, New Hampshire on a Speedway, down here and win here at Dover. It's a big deal.
And let's go down to Candace.
Dale, congratulations to you, your 2nd victory of the season. You were 3rd in the point standing before today's race. This is certainly going to move you up. You've got to be thrilled.
Yeah, it's going to help. This is unbelievable for the team. We basically won the Super Bowl in the Indy 500, Daytona 500, and the Indy 500 in our league. So unbelievable. I can't even believe it.
Did you think the race was ever going to end? All those cautions there towards the end of the race.
Well, we came here the first year and we just annihilated everybody like Paul Wolf was doing at the beginning. And I ran out of gas on that last restart, and I thought for sure it was going to happen again. And nothing in my life goes easy, and that was just another case of it.
Well, you just did a wonderful job out there again. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. With Van Dyke on board and Fremrau's on board, there's nothing that can't get us to the front.
That's a great attitude.
Hey, Candace, ask him how close was he to running out of fuel?
Dale, Mike wants to know how close you were to running out of fuel out there.
To tell you the truth, I can't count, so I don't know. It never burbled, and we don't have the stuff that the South guys have, so I don't know in the car until it actually goes bleh.
Well, it doesn't matter at this point, as long as you can get it back on the trailer, right?
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
All right, that is Dale Cornwell, and
great win.
Oh, my gosh, it was a great win for him, and I can't wait till we are able to catch up, too, with Andy Santerre, the championship. But, you know, I like the way he said it. This is the Daytona 500 and the Indy 500 of our series, and it was just a great day.
Yeah, that was going to be my point, too, is that we can't overemphasize how big these two races are at Loudon and here, New Hampshire International Speedway and this place. It's just these are the two big deals for these guys.
So Quarterly, Wolf, McDonald, Mike Stefanik with the top 5. Santerre ends up finishing in the 5th spot. You know, once they got the sheet metal pulled off those tires, he was still pretty quick.
I was amazed he got back in the gas as hard as he did. I figured he'd just kind of get out on the bottom and get out of the way, but he hung on, and it's a great day for him.
Well, a camera has certainly caught up with Andy Santerre, and I'm wondering if Candace Kruger might be down there around him.
She might be still on her way down there from victory lane. There's a little bit of a walk there, but I'll tell you what, don't be surprised someday, folks, if we're not sitting here talking to Andy Santerre.
I knew she was hustling over there. She caught up with him.
Andy, congratulations. Your 3rd championship in a row. Does it get any better than this?
Man, it doesn't get any better than this. You know, we were really hoping to put this Aubuchon car in victory lane today. Came up a little short. Had a shot at it at the end. It was real good on them restarts, but after we got banged around a little, we decided the championship was what we needed and come out of here with I believe we finished 5th, and we did what we had to do to clinch this thing. So 3 in a row, just a tribute to this team. Joe and Nancy Bessie. It's been a tough week for us. Nancy Bessie lost her dad this week, and Joe and Nancy couldn't be here, but I know they're happy for the team, and I'm just ecstatic. And say hi to my wife and kid at home, and say I'll be home shortly, and we'll celebrate this weekend.
That's right. Andy, tell us what's next for you.
Oh, man, I really don't know at this point. You know, we've got one more race left, and I didn't think we'd clinch it today. We've been struggling here at Dover all day, but we finally got this car to work good and had a good run, and we'll go to Wall and try to win that one now. We have nothing to lose. We've got the championship under our belt. I saw a real nice trophy, and according to what happens to the Busch North, this may be the last year the Anheuser-Busch sponsors the Busch North Series, so for us to get that Anheuser-Busch trophy, it means a lot to me.
So for Candace Kruger, I'm Mike Hogwood, along with Pat Patterson. We'll say so long from Dover, Delaware.